Hello students, I wish you all very happy and enthusiastic day. Today we are going to discuss about a new story, that is the Cop and the Anthem. Before we will go towards the story, you just think on this. Have you ever found yourself in a situation in which what happened was the opposite of what you expected? Sometimes this happens, dear students. Our expectation is very different and the result is very different. For example, suppose on a particular day you did your work very nicely, you have completed your homework and you studied well and you will go to school, and it is expected to you that your teacher will praise you, appreciate you. But because of some or other fault, if the teacher scolds you, this is this is the thing that which has happened very opposite. That is called as the irony of situation. Okay, this situation is ironical. Means you did the work, but the result, whatever you have expected, that is not the result, but the opposite result you have got, which is often embarrassing. So try to understand. Ironical situation means the thing which happens totally opposite, that is irony, and this situation is often embarrassing. Embarrassing means which creates confusion. The story that you are going to read has a number of such situations. Today, the story, the cop and the anthem, we are going to learn and enjoy the story. In this, you will get such a situation of irony. Sophie is a homeless, jobless man. Winter is fast approaching, and Sophie must have a place to stay. Sophie comes to a decision at last. These are the points, 3 points, which we are going to learn in the first part. Sophie is a homeless, jobless man, and as the winter was approaching, he had to take decision that he had to find some place to stay. Sophie comes to a decision. Finally, he comes to a decision. What decision he takes will continue with this story. Sophie moved restlessly on his seat in the Madison Square. Madison Square is a particular place. So he was just moving from there. He was restless as he was thinking that what had to be done. Okay, to get the shelter. There are certain signs to show that winter is coming. Birds begin to fly south. People want new warm coats, and Sophie moves restlessly on his seat in the park. When you see these signs, you know that winter is near. So there were various signs by which Sophie could understand that winter was near. The signs we have already discussed, that birds begin to fly. Okay, people want new warm coats. So Sophie also wanted that there has to be some arrangement for his shelter. A dead leaf fell at Sophie's feet. That was a special sign for him that winter was coming. It was time for all who live in Madison Square to prepare. So whoever was living in that Madison Square, so it was time for all that they have to prepare. They have to prepare to face the winter season. Sophie's mind was realized that fact. The time had come. He had to find some way to take care of himself during the cold weather, and therefore he moved restlessly on his seat. So he had been there in that Madison Square, that was a park, and he had been there on a bench. So he was restlessly, he was moving on his seat. Sophie's hopes for the winter were not very high. He was not thinking of sailing away on a ship. He was not thinking of southern skies or of the Bay of Naples. 3 months in the prison on Blackwell Island was what he wanted. So what Sophie was thinking actually? His hopes were not that much high. He was not thinking of sailing away on a ship. He did not think that he would sail away on a ship and will go to some warm place. Okay. He was not thinking of southern skies of the Bay of Naples. So he did not think that he will go abroad for those many days of winter for a trip. Okay, to have the warm atmosphere at the Bay of Naples. 3 months in the prison on Blackwell's Island was what he wanted. What he just wanted, he wanted that anyhow he had to be arrested and he had to be kept in Blackwell's Island's prison. Prison means jail. He wanted that he had to go there in jail. Anyhow, he had to be there in jail so that his winter would be passed. 3 months of food every day and a bed every night. 3 months safe from the cold north wind and safe from cops. Cops means police. So he wanted that he had to be safe in jail. He felt safe in jail, okay, or in prison. He wanted to go. So he would get there the food for every day. He would get bed over there for night, and 3 months no cop or no police would just argue with him or just scold him as he just roam around, wander around the streets. This is what Sophie wanted most in the world. Just he wanted 3 months of imprisonment, nothing more than that. For years, Blackwell's Island had been his winter home, and for so many years he had been there in Blackwell's Island in winter. So it was his winter home for so many years. So he had to do some one or other thing, and he had to be there in prison purposely. He may be doing something wrong, and he just got arrested he just got arrested himself. Richer New Yorkers made their plans to go to Florida or to the shore of Mediterranean Sea each winter. Sophie made his small plans for going to the island. So richer New Yorkers. So whoever the rich people in New York, they plan to go to Florida or to the shore of Mediterranean Sea each winter. But Sophie made just his small plan for going to the island that Blackwell's Island. What is that? That is the prison. And now the time had come. Three big newspapers, some under his coat and some over his legs, had not kept him warm during the night in the park. So he was just spending his nights in the park, and it was not possible for him to get warm. Okay, means he could not get himself, he could not find himself safe, or he could not get any warm with the help of three big newspapers. Just he wrapped himself under the newspaper at the night time when he sleep when he slept over there on the that desk of the that bench of the, not desk but bench of the park. So Sophie was thinking of the island. Therefore, he was thinking that he had to go to Blackwell's Island. There were places in the city where he could go and ask for food and a bed. Those would be given to him. He could move from one building to another, and he would be taken care of through the winter. but he liked Blackwell's Island better. Actually, if he would have requested, or he would have just find out, he would have got shelter somewhere in the city, some places who where such people who are poor, they may be helped. Okay, but he did not want to go such places. He did not want to go. He could not. He did not want to move from one building to other and would be taken care through the winter. Okay, he just liked the Blackwell's Island better. He felt that it's better to go over there in Blackwell's Island. See here some meanings of words. Southern skies means warmer places. Then Blackwell's Island, name of prison, and cop means policeman. I have already explained you. So Sophie found that it is better if he would be there in the Blackwell's Island. Sophie's spirit was proud. If he went to any of these places, there were certain things he had to do. In one way or another, he would have to pay for what they gave him. They would not ask him for money, but they would make him wash his whole body. They would make him answer questions. They would want to know everything about his life. So now try to understand. Sophie's spirit was proud. Why he did not want to take help from others in the winter, in that winter season? As I told you, he would have got help. He would have got shelter somewhere if he would have tried. But he did not want to go over there. If he went to any of these places, suppose some building or some organization helping the poor, if he would go there, there were certain things he had to do. What he had to do, in one way or another, he would have to pay for what they gave him, in one way or another. Okay, in the form of money or in the form of work, he had to pay over there. They would not ask him for money, but they would make him wash his whole body. Now try to understand. Somewhere where the poor people would have been helped, what they would have done, they would have asked him to have bath. Okay, they would make him answer questions. They would have asked him various questions. They would want to know everything about his life. So he did not want such trials. Okay, so we can understand that what kind of attitude and nature he had. He was very lazy, means he did not wish to have bath even. He means he wanted that he has to be in his own world. Nobody has to disturb him. No, prison was better than that. So he found that prison was better. The prison had rules that he would have to follow, but in prison, a gentleman's own life was still his own life. So he felt like that his own gentleman's own life is still his own life. Means no problem is there in the privacy of a gentleman in prison. Sophie, having decided to go to the island, at once began to move towards his desire. So Sophie, having decided to go to island, you know now what is meant by island. Island means that Blackwell's prison. So he has made up his mind once again to move towards his desire. So this part, dear students, we have discussed. In the next part, what will come, we'll see. Sophie does his best to be on the wrong side of the law. He tries three tricks all in vain. The fear that no cop will ever catch him makes him sick at heart. Now what happens further? See, Sophie tries to do three things which are against law or which are not correct, and his expectation was that some cop, some policeman may catch him, but his desire could not be fulfilled. How it happens, we'll see. There were many easy ways of doing this. The most pleasant way was to go and have a good dinner at some fine restaurant. Then he would say that he had no money to pay, and then a cop would be called. It would all be done very quietly. The cop would arrest him. He would be taken to a judge. The judge would do the rest. Sophie left his seat and walked slowly out of Madison Square. So see what he thought. He thought that his expectation was like that if he would go to some very expensive restaurant and if he would have expensive food over there, then and if he would say that he did not have money to pay. So simply, very quietly, police will be called and he would be given trial in front of the judge, and judge will do the rest. I mean, judge would just send him to the prison. So he thought that it's very easy. So he left his that seat, that bench on Madison Square to the palace to the place where the great street called Broadway and Fifth Avenue meet. He went so the broad street called Broadway and Fifth Avenue where those meet to that area, that side he went across this wide space and started north on Broadway. He stopped at a large and brightly lighted restaurant. This was where the best food and the best people in the best clothes appeared every evening. So he started north on the Broadway. He stopped at a large, very brightly lighted, where there was it was decorated with lighting, such a restaurant he stopped at. This was where the best food and the best people in the best clothes appeared every evening. Sophie believed that above his legs he looked all right. His face was clean, his coat was good enough. If he could get a table, he believed that success would be his. The part of him that would be seen above the table would look all right. The waiter would bring him what he asked for. So Sophie thought that his dressing is all right, and waiter would he would occupy a table and waiter would bring him what he asked for. He began thinking of what he would like to eat. In his mind, he could see the whole dinner. The cost would not be too high. He did not want the restaurant people to feel any real anger, but the dinner would leave him filled and happy for the journey to his winter home. So he had started visualizing. He decided, okay, he was just thinking that he would take the dinner, but it would not be much expensive also, so that the people who would be there in the hotel, they should not get really angry. If expenses would be much, they may be much angry. So he did not want to arouse their anger. So in this way he is thinking just, okay. But as Sophie put his foot inside the restaurant door, the head waiter saw his broken old shoes and the torn clothes that covered his legs. So as he entered at the door, okay, he did not enter the hotel, but he just kept his foot at the restaurant door. Whoever the head waiter, he saw his broken old shoes and the torn clothes that covered his legs. Strong and ready hands turned Sophie round and moved him quietly and quickly outside again. So strong, ready hands means whoever the securities, those were called, and without any noise, very quietly and quickly, he was thrown outside. Sophie turned off Broadway. It seemed that this most easy way to Island was not to be his. He must think of some another way of getting there. So he thought that this way was not of him. So he thought what another trick had to be done. So what other tricks he does, that will go through in the next part of our video. So dear students, today we'll stop over here. The remaining story will continue in the next part. Thank you very much.